This weekend, America turns 250 years old. We have fireworks, flags, flyovers, the World Cup, a state fair on the National Mall, and every bit of it runs on energy. Happy 250, America.
Roll it.
We drill it deep. We build this land with busted knuckles and calloused hands. This is crude logic. Welcome to the show.
So on today's Market Minute, West Texas is sitting at 68.39. Brent is at 71.54, and natural gas is at 3.21.
So we have a lot going on this weekend, of course. This is a huge weekend for America. This is our big 250th anniversary, and they said it wouldn't happen. Let's go 250 more. So big celebrations. Got a state fair going on in the mall at Washington, D.C., so I'm sure you've seen that. Lots of really cool booths. Each day they're highlighting something cool about America.
I didn't know about this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so they have a bunch of, like, they have a bunch of pavilions, and each state has their own, like, booth. And each state, I think it's each state, it might just be like a certain area. Like they might be just showing off stuff from each state and then in a different area highlighting America things. Not sure. But each state, except for a few blue states that have decided not to participate at all.
So Texas's booth is bigger, right?
Texas booth is the biggest.
Yeah, baby.
Of course, we have the World Cup going on. I'm not a soccer fan or football, but it's been pretty exciting to see what the American men's team has been doing. So go USA, win the World Cup. I think we've gone farther than we have most times. So World Cup's really exciting. Let's just bring it on back home. All these things that are going on are powered by, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, all you great people in the oil, gas, and energy sectors, primarily oil and gas, let's be honest. Go coal. We're going to talk a little bit about America starting. We're not going to go into a deep dive about the whole history of America, but we are going to talk a little bit about this great country and how it was founded. And then we are going to bring it back to you, the good men and women of the oil and gas industry. And we're going to talk about the first well that was drilled in Pennsylvania. So let's get started. Before oil became gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, plastics, lubricants, asphalt, medical equipment, and thousands of other products, it was mainly sought for lighting. Whale oil was commonly used, but it was really expensive. In 1859, Edwin Drake led the drilling of a well near Titusville. On August 27th, 1859, the well struck oil at roughly 69 feet. It was not the first time that people had found petroleum, but it was a landmark moment because it showed oil could be deliberately drilled for and produced commercially, which started the whole thing off. This wasn't a modern rig. There was no top drive, no MWD, no directional plan, no HSE meeting. He basically simply started drilling a hole in the ground.
Did he even have any intent on getting oil?
So people had found oil in the past. I'm assuming it was probably just seeping out of the ground. And in places where that happened, they decided to capture it and use it. And Edwin Drake had the idea that, well, if it's coming out of the ground, then why don't we drill down to it? And thus began the greatest American story ever. It was in Pennsylvania. So it wasn't just a hole in the ground. It was one of the first chapters in the story of American energy abundance. 167 years later, the descendants of that idea are still out there drilling these rigs. So I think it's an interesting story. I think it's a very American story. It's very innovative on Edwin's part to decide, hey, this thing that's actually just coming out of the ground, let's go to it, let's go to the source, and let's produce it commercially, which I'm assuming put the whale fat for oil out of business or dramatically affected that business.
I'm sure.
I mean, obviously I know that they use whale fat even today for certain products and all that, but if it's being used basically for that level of energy back then, and then somebody comes in with this new innovative way
Yeah, put
that
the
is
well-fat business or well-fat industry out of business.
this first well obviously was the beginning of commercial oil and gas production as we know it, at least in the United States. And it took a lot of guts, a lot of innovation, a lot of bravery for this Edwin guy to decide, I'm going to drill. I mean, 69 feet into the earth is pretty deep for then.
All these greenies, as you've called them, they're always griping and complaining, right, that we're destroying the water and all this other stuff. So Edwin actually drilled down to 65 feet or 67 feet, and the water table in Pennsylvania is at 100 to 300 feet. And then he came in and got all the oil that was probably seeping into their water off the top of it. So we should just, a little shout out there. He was the first water purification guy too, by default.
We've come a long way, America. We're doing really good things, and this industry is making America run. You are literally a line of defense for this country. Everybody plays a super important part in this.
Just to throw in there for reference, 67 feet was the first well, and the current deepest well we've ever drilled is 40,230 feet.
As America turns 250 years old, we should be thankful and grateful that we live in the country that we do. If you've not been around the world or outside this country, you probably don't understand why all these Europeans are coming over here for the World Cup. I think that there's more of us out here that are patriotic for the country than not. So we need to remember all the people that make life happen in this country: farmers, welders, truck drivers, oil field workers. And we just thank everybody. And most importantly, we want to recognize the U.S. military on this day. Regardless of everything that everybody has done in this collective effort, it would not be possible without the men and women that have served, that are currently serving, and that will be serving in the future. You are super important to us. We love every single one of you. We're thankful for your sacrifice that allows us to live a great life in America. So happy birthday, America. Happy 250th.
None of it is possible without literally everything that, what we're doing right now, cameras, literally everything, fabric is processed with oil and gas. Everything is processed with oil and gas.
This industry is the backbone of America, guys. Yes, the soldiers keep it going and keep us safe, and we couldn't do it without them either. And there's a lot of other industries that help America run, but none of those industries would run. Even the military, especially the military, would not run without the fine men and women in the oil and gas industry. You guys are the backbone of America. We celebrate you every day. So stay safe, keep drilling, and remember, it's only logic if it's crude logic. We'll see you next week. Have a happy 4th.
Morning, coffee black, steel toes hitting an old gravel track. Hard hats on, boots in the mud, turning diesel into blood. From the Permian dirt to the Rocky Mountain snow, if the rig starts drilling, we're ready to go. Sun comes up, another 12, ain't nobody gonna do it themselves. We drill it deep, we build this land with busted knuckles and calloused hands.